Good morning. Good Monday morning to all our friends out there. It's the last day of April 30th. It's going to be a little chilly in the morning, but it's probably warming up now. Welcome to the Ordinary Joe Show. It's Monday, and as usual on Monday mornings, every Monday, we cover the subject of finance, business, entrepreneur. But keep in mind, we want to include careers as well. A big headline on business news this morning, titled An Awakening, Major Canadian Pension Funds Wade into Pot Stocks, or your cannabis, marijuana stocks in the market. This is a touchy subject for sure. There's many friends of mine and listeners and followers as well who are on the opposite sides of this debate. So I probably not go in depth. I have my own personal opinions about it, but we'll see as the day progresses if we are going to touch on a little bit, give a little commentary on the issue. But before we begin, just want to invite you all to check out an interview I had last Saturday as the keynote guest at Lunch Break Radio in Pinoy Radio up at Vaughan. So it's half in English and half in Filipino, so I apologize to all my non-Filipino followers and friends who might not understand half of the conversation. I would say about 60% is in English, so if you're very patient, you'll still pick up something. A full disclosure before we begin the show. As the show progresses, we will talk about some financial concepts and insight. None of those that I say here should be taken as professional advice. Any financial thoughts and conversation you hear here are all of personal opinion and not for professional advice. Please see your licensed professional financial advisor before implementing any strategy on your finances. Friends, welcome back to our Monday's Finance, Business, and Entrepreneur podcast. And today, we're already on the 4th episode of this very uplifting, very enjoyable, entertaining, yet very serious, very professional podcast about business, about finance. We are going to add to the mix of this conversation also for career pursuers. I know we mentioned that brand building is not only for building your business as a brand, but also for personal branding. And you can accomplish building your personal brand as well as building your resume and your credentials for your career. We just want you to, hoping that you will also pursue, other than finding employment for an employer, pursue and build your brand as an entrepreneur at the same time. Having said that, many people have been very, very successful in building their personal brand. That becomes a business brand. Who started off as employee or as an agent of something bigger, a bigger company, a bigger corporation. But just keep in mind, when we are putting all of that energy, all that time, clocking in, clocking out, appearing at the office by 9 o'clock and not being able to free yourself until 5, that all that energy and the time, the resources that you have for that day was given to build the company you're working for, and partly building your career, building your portfolio, building your profile. But that's all according to how your bosses or colleague perceive and appreciate the kind of value that you have brought into the business. And it's all subjective, but just keep that in mind. But also, like I said, having said that, there's two sides of the coins. There's value in that as well. You cannot discount the value of branding that you carry on, or you accomplish building for your own portfolio, for your own profile, with the experience that you gain from working for other people. Just don't spend the rest of your life doing that. Just don't spend all your energy, your effort, and your time building other people's brands and not putting more energy on building your own brand. So let's take, for example, last night there's a big win between the Blue Jays versus Texas Rangers that happened here in the city. Last night is 7-2 lead. So the Blue Jays won last night. And many of my very close friends know that I am not a very passionate sports. I'm not an avid sports follower of any kind, except for boxing. And I wouldn't even say all boxing. That was only except for Manny Pacquiao's fights back when he was active. So recently, I'm not even sure if he's still active in boxing anymore. I know that he had a big fight in Australia that most North Americans didn't hear of, but it was still big in Asia because it wasn't carried through the usual boxing network that we are used to here in North America. So I'm not even sure. I haven't been following, so I'm not a big sports aficionado. But I appreciate the business of sports and the branding of athletes that they build for their names in the field of sports. It's also the same in the field of the entertainment business. The films, the music, even for books, right? So we have on Thursdays, on Fridays, we have films, books, music, and art podcasts talking about the products, also the business side of it. So all of our podcast series are actually kind of intertwined. It can overlap, interconnect with each other in subject. Because, for example, we have our Wednesday food, fine wines, and festivals podcast, but there's business side on